The debate over socialism heightening as Americans watch tragedy unfold in Venezuela. Legendary economist Thomas Sowell, the author of Discrimination and Disparities, a new and enlarged edition on the growing socialism movement right here in the United States. Professor Sowell, wonderful to see you again. Thank you very much for being here.
Good to be with you.
You have spent a lifetime, literally, using specific evidence to disprove bad economic policies. With all of the evidence about socialism, the failure of its economic model, not to mention its barbarism in the 20th century, are you surprised at its resurgence right here in the United States?
A little bit, but unfortunately, neither our educational system nor the media encourage people to test ideas against facts. Socialism is a wonderful sounding idea. It's only as a reality that it's disastrous.
You yourself, I mean, as a student, I understand, were kind of drawn towards socialist ideas. So you wrote a book on Marxism.
I was a Marxist.
Yeah. People still quote your book on Marxism as not wholly negative. In fact, you saw a lot of positive things about it. What turned you against that model?
Facts. Before I was a Marxist, I was an empiricist, and I stayed an empiricist. And with the passing years, as I looked into more and more things, I saw the difference between reality and the rhetoric. Unfortunately, so many people today, including in the leading universities, don't pay much attention to evidence.
Now, do you think the facts and the evidence about socialism will sink in before it turns into actual policies that are presented in the United States?
I would hope so, but I really don't think so, because what is known already is sufficient. When you see people starving in Venezuela and fleeing into neighboring countries, and realize that this is a country that once had the world's largest oil reserves, you realize that they've ruined a very good prospect with ideas that sounded good but didn't turn out well.
You know, the answer always is, when you point to examples of socialism that turns, at the very least, into horrible economic conditions, at worst into barbarism, they always say, well, that was a special instance. You know, Venezuela has a very different culture than the United States. It could never happen here. How do you respond to that?
Well, these specialists, in fact, I would say, looking at it in a worldwide perspective, these so-called exceptions are almost universal on every continent, among people of every race, color, creed, and whatever.
What do you make of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? She has this growing movement, even among some people who historically haven't been particularly persuaded by the socialist meme. I mean, but there's something about her that seems to be very popular. Do you think it's going to continue, or will she fall flat?
I don't know. Again, it depends upon whether people go by facts or by rhetoric. If they go by rhetoric, she's a rising star.